We visited Renk, which is the northernmost part of South Sudan and borders Sudan-South Sudan. And on the Egyptian border, we visited, the city of Aswan, which is the closest to the border. In both places, what you see is the scene of thousands of people trying to come into the country. In the case of South Sudan, where 800,000 of them were registered in Sudan as refugees, many of them coming back. We've had something like 100,000 already. But most of them, when they come in, they are hosted in a transit center in a town called Renk, where, according to the government, de facto, after 72 hours, they need to leave to their home states. But the problem is the transit center that was meant to host 4,000 people now hosts 11,000 of them. And majority of people cannot go to their home states, A, because there's no enough transportation to take them there, B, because there are conflicts in some of the home states, and also because they are flooding.
Now, wow, that is, very concerning, especially when you think about women, you think about children, you think about elderly people. What are the challenges are they facing, and how are these being addressed? Thank you so much. I'm glad you brought up women and children, because they are at the receiving end of the worst of this conflict. I met a mom who has 4-month-old baby. His name is Faris, and Faris had one kidney. He had problems with his kidney. One of the kidney was operated on before the conflict, and they went back to Khartoum. And after the conflict, they had to come back. When I met her, her mom was down on her luck, and she doesn't know what to do because she needs 50,000 Egyptian pounds for the other kidney to be operated on. But they don't have any money for them to do that. In Renk, what we saw was a place, because it's so crowded, it is raining, and because conflict is still going on in Sudan, more people are coming in. Already, we have cases of measles outbreak. 4 children have died, and over 80 of them are infected. So we are looking at both borders, serious humanitarian crises. But on the Egyptian border, the major challenge is that the Egyptian authorities are not letting people in. In the town of Wadi Halfa, which is the last town between Egypt and Sudan, over 120,000 people are still stuck at the border. Now, you bring in a very gloomy picture here, and this is the rainy season. Most refugees, as you say, some of them are, they have nowhere to stay. They can't even take so many. So how are the host countries prepared to take more refugees that are still fleeing Sudan? And also, what are humanitarian aid groups like yours doing to alleviate their suffering? I think there are few ways that can be solved. The major one from the Egyptian side is for these refugees, many of them who are not getting a ton of attention, is for the authorities, that is the Egyptian authorities and UNHCR, to be able to let these people in under what we call prima facie refugee status. This is refugee status that is given to refugees by virtue of being refugees and being displaced. Secondly, there are many Sudanese-led refugee organizations inside Egypt that are doing fantastic work, but they are strained. I think on the South Sudanese border, what really needs to happen is the government needs to walk away from its policy of saying that this is a transit center that can only be held for 72 hours. 72 hours. Where do they go next? That's the big question. Abdullahi, what a story. Thank you so much for your insight and for coming to the studio. My pleasure. Abdullahi Halakhe is Refugees International Senior Advocate for East and Southern Africa.